Hello everyone, it's Monique Renewed. Welcome back to another video. So today's video is going to be an update of why I've been gone so long and just what's been going on in my life. I thought about just going straight back into the routine of making videos, the typical videos that I make, but I'm like, okay, why not just give an update about why I've been gone for several months, what's been going on, and how God has been working in my life. So yeah, as I probably mentioned in one of my other videos, I think it was how to overcome depression. I mentioned that one of my friends had passed away that I worked with. We worked in the same office together. So a colleague of mine, we weren't in the same department, but we worked together sometimes, and she had breast cancer. And it was just really sad because I watched her go through so much pain and doctor visits and hospital visits, and you know, we tried to encourage her, but she did progressively get worse. And for me, it was just sad because I would love going in her office. I would love hearing her come in with her heels and her cute outfits, and she just made me feel like it was okay to be myself, to like girly things, because I always think like as I get older, I'm starting to like, oh, as you can see, I'm wearing like all this pink, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Monique, like you're getting older and you're liking all this girly stuff and blah blah blah. But seeing her and being comfortable with, you should have seen her office, you guys. Her office was decorated, girly. She had decor, she had stools from her Home Goods, her keyboard was cute, and she had all this girly decorated stuff, and she wasn't afraid to be her. You know, she was older than I was, but not by that much, and it made me feel comfortable to still like those things even as I'm getting older. Usually the aesthetic is, you know, neutral, plain, classy for people of my age, but I'm like, well, I like pink, I like girly stuff. And for my birthday, she had brought me this pink keyboard and all this girly stuff that I liked. I hadn't known her for that long. I had just met her, but like me and her connected like this once we got to know each other. And I loved Melissa, okay? Like she was like a sister to me. So to watch her go through all that pain and suffering with her diagnosis, it was really sad. You know, we cried, we talked, we could talk for hours. You know, one day she just said to me, she was crying, she was like, you know, I don't want to die. And I was just, oh my gosh, my heart was just so broken. And you know, I spent time praying for her. You know, she was in the hospital, and then they discharged her to, I guess, to a rehab facility, and she ended up passing away one day. That just tore me into pieces, because it was almost like I just started to know this person, and it was almost like the potential of our friendship, you know, progressing. It was like all of that was just snatched away in a moment. And it just, I was just so upset. I was like, God, why? You know, I started to think like it was better to know her for that brief moment than to not know her at all. And at least I know she's in a better place now. So that's what I try to think about when I think about her. And then a couple months after that, my brother died. My brother passed away in January. So it was like dealing with her death and then having to deal with my brother's death, and you know, all the things that come along with having a family member pass away, like all the unknown stuff that gets unearthed and all the trauma that you had to deal with in your childhood, and then all the regrets. And yeah, so all that started to resurface as I started to learn things that I didn't know about my brother, some good, some bad. I also found out that he had a cooking YouTube channel, and that was like a little present for me from God, almost, like finding out that he made a cooking YouTube channel and he was uploading videos. I was like, oh my gosh, we are more alike than I thought. Watching his videos and hearing his voice and how passionate he was with food. Ever since he discovered how to cook, he's always loved food and always loved cooking. And the same thing with me. I love food, I love cooking. So it was just like, that just put a smile on my face, knowing that I had stopped making videos after he passed away. Not for any particular reason, but it was just a lot going on, and I didn't know how to really manage my time and to be consistent while life was still going on. I think it's been 4 months since I last made a video, which is kind of crazy. And that was another thing, is being inconsistent. I feel like it's not just with YouTube, it's like with certain areas in my life, like, you know, just little stuff, my night routine, taking my vitamins, wearing my retainer. It's just certain things I'm realizing that I'm having issues being consistent with and that I need to work on. Like something major will happen in life and then like I'll just, you know, stop everything. But I'm realizing you need to keep going. You can take a break, but you need to keep going regardless. The last thing is that I'm still in the situation right now is my job. I always feel like I'm going through something with my job. I don't know if you guys know, my mother passed away in 2019 before COVID and all this craziness happened. And then my manager at the job that I was at passed away like a year after me being there. So that's the other section, is my job. After she passed away, things started to go downhill for my job. Like, she was the glue. Of course, she's the manager, so she was the glue to our department. She held out a lot of knowledge that people probably weren't aware of how to do, like certain things that a manager knows how to do that you aren't aware of, because she always did it. So then when she passed away, it's like we had to like scramble to try to figure things out. There was a lot of turnover that happened after that. People that came in our department that weren't necessarily supposed to be in our department, that didn't have knowledge of what we did, started to change things around, started to shift things, and it kind of made like everything a big mess. So like I said, things went downhill quickly after she passed away, and we couldn't really get a suitable manager in to fill her place. But I will say, with her being gone, it did make me more independent as a worker and more of a go find out for yourself type of person. Now, it used to be like we would, you know, ask her to do something or ask her questions. There was no asking anybody questions. I had to figure it out for myself. So that made me more knowledgeable in what I do, and it kind of strengthened me as a professional, because I had this mentality where like before I ask somebody, I have to go figure it out myself because there wasn't anybody to ask. That was that. With her, I spent a lot of time training with her. You know, I wrote down a lot of stuff that she taught me, so I became a resource for a lot of other people. But I did begin to feel very used in that process. I don't know, it was just a messy situation. I'm pretty sure a lot of you can relate about feeling used at the workplace. And because I'm quiet, it's like people would take ideas and knowledge from me and then use it as if it was their own ideas when it wasn't, and then don't give me credit for it. So I went through a lot of that. You know, I would always get compliments, oh, you're so smart. So I began looking elsewhere. God was working through that situation. Of course, I prayed for, you know, a new position. And it's so crazy because as I was complaining about something at the job that I was at, I got a phone call from a recruiter about a job that had actually applied to a year prior, which is insane to me, literally. And he was like, yeah, we have a new role opening up and wanted to see if you were interested to re-interview for it. And I said, of course, because I really wanted out of my current position. And ironically, the job that I was at was the job that I prayed for. So it's like, it's so funny because I also felt bad because I'm like, well, this is the job I prayed for. Should I just stick it out? It's okay to want something new, even if it is something that God gave you. It's okay to realize when, okay, my time is up here. It's okay to transition and to ask God, what's the next step? Do you have me stay here or do you have me transition out? And in my case, he had me, it was okay to transition out to somewhere else. You know, I got all that I needed here. I learned a lot of things here, but it's okay to want something new. So the recruiter called me and I just knew this job was going to be mine, but they ended up closing the position, the full-time position. So of course I was devastated because I'm like,
God, I thought you said that this was going to be for me. Why is this happening?
Am I going to have to stay stuck here? Oh my gosh, I was severely depressed. I'm not going to lie. Because I'm like, I cannot, it's so much going on. I cannot bear to stay here for any longer. But I had to keep staying longer until, you know, God gave me the green light. And eventually something did open up for me. I hung in there. I didn't give up. God would give me signs through like sermons, encouraging me. And I just knew in my head, I said, it didn't make sense to anybody else. Anybody else would have been like, I would just keep looking. But I just knew this was for me. I knew this was for me. So I didn't give up. And eventually something opened up for me and I am transitioned out to somewhere else. And I know nowhere's going to be perfect, but I would say, you know, keep a positive mindset. I've learned so much over time. So I don't expect perfection anymore. I just expect learning experiences and growth, basically. So yeah, those are the major life updates for now. Oh, and also I had went on a 40-day no social media fast or abstaining for social media, whatever you want to call it, where I didn't look at YouTube, I didn't go on TikTok. I already don't use Facebook or Instagram, so that's not an issue. I didn't look at Pinterest. I didn't look at any of that stuff for 40 days. And that was the first time I've ever abstained from social media for an extended period of time. And that's kind of when all the chaos kind of like unearthed itself. It's so funny. Like, people say whenever you go on a fast, that's when like everything breaks loose. And I feel like that happens because God is trying to shake up things that weren't meant to be and then put things in its proper place. Yeah, if God is calling you to fast, I encourage you to just go ahead and do it. I tried to avoid it for the longest time, and then I got called out. Well, I felt like I got called out in church. God could have just said everything but my name and it would have been about me. I feel like I get a lot of confirmation from God through sermons at my church. So it was just one sermon that the pastor was preaching, saying, you know, God was calling this person, he was using his coworker as an example, was calling him to do something and he refused to do it, or something along that line. And I just knew like God was speaking to me, like, I've been telling you to do something and you're refusing to do it, and which was a social media fast. So I went ahead and did it for 40 days and I got used to it at first. You get used to it after a while. You know, the first thing I normally do is go on my phone to look at something, or I'll waste time. That's the thing. Social TikTok and YouTube for me could be a time guzzler. Okay, I can waste so many hours on that and then complain I don't have time to do anything. And it's like, you could have been editing your video, you could have been recording, you could have been planning content, but you're wasting time on these platforms and then wonder why the time goes by so quick. And right now I'm just trying to learn how to structure my time better and to be more consistent with the things that actually matter in life. Someone on TikTok has said that instead of consuming social media, you need to be creating content. If you spend more time consuming than you do creating content, then there's an imbalance. So that's it for the update of what I've been going through. And there's like other things that I can't really get into as well because it's, you know, still in the midst. But yeah, I just wanted to encourage somebody to not give up on God, and to listen, to be on the lookout for what he's doing in your life, and to listen and to do what he's telling you to do, because that's how new doors of opportunity opens, when you're obedient to what he's telling you to do. And at first it might seem like, oh my gosh, why are you torturing me? But it's not. It's for your good. And as always, God causes everything, the good and the bad, to work out for your good, for those who love God and are called according to his purposes. So if you trust in him to lead you in your life, you won't regret it. All right, so that's all for today's video. I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye. What? Why y'all looking at me? Shoot.
I did.